Hey, good morning, good morning. Oops. Good morning, people, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Yeah, it's little old me. I'm back. Oh, let me move my fingers here. Yeah, I have my iPad, and yeah, I try to recharge it a little bit. And well, yes, good morning, good morning. Yes, this is Spirit Journey. Today is Friday. Man, these Fridays are coming faster and faster. Good morning, Friday. It is about 3:25 in the morning, and I've been up for a while now. Went to bed early, and yes, when you go to bed early, you also wake up early too. Yes, yes, I'm back. Yes, I was on the yes. Good morning, YouTuber. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, I'm back. I'm back on the saddle again. Yes, I was on a timeout from YouTube again. Yes. Yeah, or the rustling that you might hear. Um, I have a mylar, I think it's pronounced a mylar blanket. It looks like aluminum foil. You know, with those joggers, when they do that marathon, they give them that thing to wear, over the shoulders. Well, they have it in a blanket form, a big one. And that's what I have on top of my covers. It works marvelous, boy. It locks in the heat. It's extremely lightweight, but boy, it makes a lot of noise when you move. So please forgive me if you hear rustling. That's what it is. Yeah, you got to keep yourself warm. Yeah, it's been um, the past 2 days, man, especially yesterday. I felt like cold. You okay? Oh, my little doggy coughing. You okay, buddy? You get some water. Yeah, the air has been very dry. Yeah, let me give a recap. Yeah, I've been on a timeout with YouTube, a 2 week timeout. Yeah, they're getting back at me from a video I did almost 2 years ago. Yeah, in my opinion, they don't like what I'm currently talking about. They know what I have on. I mean, but that's one thing. If it's about screening out everything, you know, why is something from almost 2 years being an issue? And it was just something that shared my thoughts about something. But either way, um, I'm back. And yeah, I did do a quick snippet of the video in question. I'm not sure which device I recorded it on. I did like a 5 minute. I might upload it later on. I don't know, but I was just in the mood of talking, and I really wanted to get back on my channel. But what I did real quick, I have another channel. My main that was my main channel for a while. It was called Blackcom Warning, and I'm not able to do live on that channel, but I was able to upload like um, short videos, my 20-minute video, and I then uploaded it, so that I was able to do. So I think I have a link on that on my about page. So if you want to see it, yeah, I uploaded maybe 4 or 5 videos. Uh, Hey, Sophia. Hey, morning. Let me read the message. Let's see. Got my glasses on. Okay. Good morning, my mind ran on you this morning. Glad to see you are well. On my way to work, so unable to continue with this stream, but we'll play back later. Have a great day. Yeah, oh my goodness. Good to see. Haven't heard from you in a while. Yeah, I've been on the bad girl list for a timeout for 2 weeks from YouTube. Yeah, they see the truth that, one thing, be truthful with what you do in life. And, some people won't like it. Yeah, that's all what happened. But yes, I'm back for now. So great, great. So, uh, no matter how long you're able to stand, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, it's really good to hear from you. So, um, so yeah, I was on the 2 week ban list. Yeah, it's so good to hear from you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Sophia. Yes, Sophia means wisdom, and so yes, you show your wisdom. Yeah, be wise, because we all gonna need it. So yes, be true to oneself. My doing these videos, it's really more like a diary of myself. And I will be, Sophia, talking about, yeah, this is the end of my 50th year. That's 50. And I'll be 60 this coming Monday. Yeah. So what inspired me to do, to see if I'm back on YouTube, to be able to do live. Yeah. Yeah, I'm able to do live on this channel. My other ones, I don't qualify for live. So I like doing live so I don't have to edit. And yes, I like to talk. So yeah, I wanted to, yeah, I'd be 60 years old in December 5. And I can't believe it. And so when I woke up this morning, um, I just started thinking. I said, what did I learn? I said, wow, I can't believe I won't be in my 50s any longer, and I'll be in the 60 category. I said, wow, what a big number. Yeah, I remember when I thought 40 was a big number, boy. It's all relative, but wow. Yeah, I remember when I turned 40. Oh my goodness. And I remember when I turned 50. And so, what I wanted to discuss, I was just reflecting real quick. This is my last weekend as a 50-something-year-old woman. And I thought, hey, what could I do? Uh oh, my battery's low. Wait a minute, then I have to plug it in. Okay. Yeah, I see a low battery. All right. So I have to plug it in. Okay, I have my plug. I knew that was going to happen, but I was hoping it would be longer. Okay. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, yeah, I had to put the plug in. So I hope I'm able to do it. Okay, let me begin. Well, I was just reflecting. I said, hey, this might be appropriate to talk about reflection. I mean, it's the end of the year now. It's December. Yeah, December 2022. So I say, hey, let me reflect on what was 50 to me. So I started just thinking. I said, okay, let me start from the beginning. I mean, not the beginning. Well, what are the last things I'm learning? Um, I would say what's characterizing the things that I've learned in my 50th years, then to enter my 60. I say, um, identity, okay, my identity and deception. My identity and deception. Okay, so let me begin. Um, the last things on the social media that I mean, I think it wraps up everything all in one, my 50th year. Uh, Identity and deception. Wow. Remember oh, yeah, again, my condolences to that young woman, Shakila Robinson, I think her name. My apology, I even remember. She has an exotic first name. But Miss Robinson, the 25-year-old who was brutally um, wiped out. My condolences to her family. I avoided watching the videos because I was being bombarded with the videos about the young woman. You had a picture, the thumbnails of a very pretty uh, black woman. Her makeup very nicely done, real glamour look. And I didn't know who was the victim in those thumbnails. But, I read the captions on the thumbnails on YouTube. And I just didn't want to, something about someone's life being taken away. And I just, I don't know. I'm sensitive, people. I said, look, just face it. Just see what it's about. Yes, I watched a bunch of the videos on, I think, Wednesday. Yeah, I watched it Wednesday for the first time. I couldn't believe the evil, the evil that's out there. Identity and deception. Identity. Um, where does that, begin with this? Well, this was a black woman. I mean, that's not all that she was, but she was loved. She was loved by her daddy. She was a daddy's girl, a college graduate, and she was deciding what she wanted to do. She had these other jobs, after graduation. And she found something she was good in. She was good in doing hair. And she and 6 other people were to go with her to Mexico. And there were supposed to be 2 birthday people that were to attend. One came on a different flight, but the others all came together, and they rented a villa. And I watched about 3. They had taped videos on the evil. One was something, I think it led up to it, like, I think it was her phone, and she was wondering, where's everybody? Another captioned her sleeping on the hammock. Again, they were only there for 24 hours about the day of arrival and then the next day. And then the other brutal video. And horrific. 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 Could you imagine you with an entourage? You're successful, you're a young girl. You had to be able to save up enough money to rent a villa. Now, I don't know whether they all, paid, divided up the money. you know, and you share the expenses. I don't know how it worked, but they rented a villa, and I went online to find out how much these villas cost. Wow, wow, that's all I can say. Um, yeah, this one YouTuber had the like a document of the name of the place, their signatures and cell phone numbers, girlfriend. Wow, I couldn't believe it. Yeah, that one YouTuber, I guess like an investigator, she had that she aired that document on her video, the names of all the people uh, that was to share the villa, the name of the villa. And so I typed in, the name of the villa that there was to stay. Now they didn't have the unit that I couldn't find the name of the unit that they were stayed in, but the establishment. And they're expensive. Wow. So they want to live, indulge and young people, and they were to spend some time there. Yeah, the document that this other YouTuber shared, they were only going to be there from October 28th to the 31st. The 31st is Halloween, people. And what I was thinking, a human sacrifice. And it just seemed to me, based on some of the information that was shared on social media, it seems like something that something collaborated, and that's why she was in the loop when she entered that room. And what you cannot really tell in the said video, she was in her birthday suit. You're in a room. You're an adult. And this was in a room of, you had a man there and women. Yeah, there was supposed to be three men, three women, and then another person. Yeah. You're in your birthday suit and they're surrounded you and caught you off guard and to do such horrific things to you. Okay, my condolences. It's very traumatizing to see. I didn't know what to expect when I watched the video. This is not the first time. I've seen videos earlier this year. Yeah, I think it was last October or early November of this year, 2022. A white white people, and they were friends too. They was what do you call best friends, um, middle class, um, and they had video caption of they deceived to tell, oh, come with us to this place. She goes in the car, and they planned it, and they um, did what they did to her and lied about it. Yeah, there was a court hearing. Yeah, they got the just desserts. But see, this is about deception and identity. Identity in the sense that who are you? And we may choose certain people in our lives. We may choose certain people in our lives because of our identity. Oh, I'm a girl, I'm going to hang out with the girls. Or I'm a girl, I'm with these my people, my race, my ethnicity. all that had nothing to do with what happened. We may choose friends because of those, elements that we live in. We live in a world, and sometimes we have certain identities, and that may cloud our ability to see clearly. So, but in both these instances, the black girl that got her life taken away a month ago, and then that other show that I saw early in the month, and the same type of thing. So it's not about race. Anybody, evil is what evil does. Evil is evil. But both of them was about deception. Yeah, she didn't fight back. She didn't, I think she was just stunned. And what could have happened? And to have people watch and videotape. What were they videotape because they were afraid and they wanted proof that, hey, they had nothing to do with it, but to not even intervene. They say, look, come on, you're angry with so and so. Let's just leave. Again, they just arrived. They just arrived. So they're on an airplane. They arrived, right? And the other person didn't show up at the party. Yet he was to arrive later on. I don't think he was in the room of the beatdown, but after. So what happened? In between, again, they're there for I think less than 24 hours upon arrival. What transpired? Was there an argument? If someone is that angry, just say, look, I'm going flying back, whatever. Deception. And then they leave. They left. The case is really getting more tangled because the report said that they're, forensic, they're able to determine time of the person's departing. They said the coroner's report said 15 minutes after the injuries, this person, took her last breath. But alleged doctor came in the room, and the story of that doctor doesn't add up to the autopsy. So it seems like cover up after cover up, and what it looks like people would do for money. Yeah, this is the age of deception and identity. What are we willing to do? Because your identity. Let's say someone is a mother. Oh, I need money. Yeah, I'll lie for you on the report. I can use the money, my identity. I mean, I'm just throwing that in. What could happen with your the identity you choose, how you see yourself. Oh, I need such and such because I have to look good because I have this lifestyle, so I'm supposed to look a certain way to the public. And so it might influence the things that you do. So we may deceive ourselves, deceive others to keep the charade going, the lifestyle that you want to live. But when I watched the case, it kind of it I felt physically sick watching. I felt very disturbed, and then I felt that it was something personal. So it clicked something inside of me about my life. This is my 50th year, and here to see a video like that just days before my birthday going to be coming this Monday. And what did it remind me? I said to myself when I was watching that we may choose people in our lives. We may want their coming, you might have gone to school with someone. Somebody close to you might have been a neighbor that you knew each other since childhood. But it's something personal, someone that was in your life. And then you have to smell the coffee and say to yourself, is this really a friend? Or do I want to live the deception to deceive myself that this person is my friend? Is this person really someone that you should associate with? That's what I got out of this horrible, horrible story, this horrible event. I said to myself, should I stay in this relationship? You can care for somebody, love them, give them money, spend time with them. And I had to ask myself, is this friendship worth it? Is this friendship one way or two ways? And I have to ask myself, is it worth it? Yeah, this is, we will have to make a choice. Seeing that event, that poor girl, I remember when I was 25. I was in the military. I just entered the military. So that number is special to me, number 25. That's when I entered the military. And I met a lot of people at that time in the military. And there was deception there too. Identity and deception. Yeah, I was in the military. I was with a whole bunch of black people. Wasn't this my identity as a black woman? People are doing things to one another, and they may feel obligated to associate with certain people because of an identity. Well, you want to fit in. I knew someone who were besties overseas. Yeah, we were deployed overseas, and they were the best of friends. And when they came back, I don't know why this happens, but those of you who are military or veteran, and you were deployed, we may act one way overseas, and when we come home, we're another way. And they may be party people overseas, and then when they come back to the States, I don't know why, but a lot of relationships change overnight. Besties now are enemies. One of the people that I'm thinking about had gotten, was pregnant. She planned the pregnancy, and her so-called best friend, female friend, was flirting with the her boyfriend. And again, she just had a baby with them. You know, they weren't married, but they had a baby together. And the so-called friend came to the house and was flirting with her, the boyfriend. Well, that ended their friendship. But me and the other girl, we were not buddies. We worked together. And, you know, we started to become friends when we came back overseas. Yeah, I'm no longer in contact with her. Um, yeah, this was like over 30 years ago. But I just started thinking about it, how people could choose friends because, hey, you're from the same neighborhood, you listen to the same music, you have the same race. How should we decide who's going to really be our friend? How, because what happened to that poor 25-year-old girl? I'll just call her Miss Robinson. It's hard for me to pronounce her first name, but Miss Robinson, uh, who died viciously in Mexico, the company of her so-called friends. Um, how should we decide our friends? As for me, you know, this identity and betrayal thing is a theme, I would say, in my life. I remember when I just turned 50. Yeah, I was doing volunteer work. I had just graduated. Well, I finished my studies, and graduation, you know, the ceremony was to be in 5 months. And during this time, um, I had just landed a volunteer job in the neighborhood, in a black neighborhood, Harlem to be more exact. I worked in a hospital, and I remember day one there. Um, I felt like I fitted in right away. Um, I would say it was a small group. I think about 12 people. Um, the mass majority of the people were from the Caribbean, um, Hispanic and non-Hispanic from the Caribbean. One white girl, one Filipino girl, a woman, yeah. One black American guy. I think he might have been a volunteer also. I forget. But we only had one guy. We all kind of got along. It was, um, but yes, a betrayal. A betrayal happened. And how, I'm not going to get into it in detail, but um, it showed me that here, my heart was in the right place. I wanted to serve the community. I wanted to serve the black community, uh, and other social minorities in this location in Harlem. And I wanted to serve, I wanted to help people. That's what was driving me there. And I even was elected, you know, volunteer of the month. Even though they gave me my award almost a month late. But yeah, but I did get it. I felt dedicated. You could have all the right intention, but you know, people have different drives. And this one person's drive was about, again, sh- shame. Yes, shame was involved, identity, She was a foreign national, and you have to to get a job there, to do what what they were doing. You had to have your credentials. She had a I think it was an associate's in nutrition, and she told me the story. Yeah, she had a copy of her, I think um, her diploma. I think she had some credential on the wall. And she put it up there because a client had asked her, "Oh, wow, I want to work here too. Hey, could I get a job here?" And it's something to that effect. This is what she's telling me. And she took offense because she just thought, the girl thought that because of all people of color, that anybody could just work there. And she didn't have credentials. And she said, "I have a college degree, blah, blah, blah." So her ego was affected. But I'm thinking to myself, well, these are the people who belong to this. Primarily, I worked in a WIC office. It stands for Women, Infants, and Children. It's um, a free program. It's a food supplementary program. You can be an illegal alien. Uh, if you have a need uh, based on your health status or economics, you can qualify. You qualify. And but many of the people, it's an economic. Okay, in this neighborhood in Harlem, a lot of immigrants, a lot of poverty, and a lot of illegals, and they have children, and they qualify, and they get on. And so the one of the clients, a mommy, a young mommy, and she, offended this coworker. Yeah, she was permanent staff. She worked there. I was just a volunteer, but she's telling me the story and how every time new client comes in, she has to point on the wall. This is my credentials, blah, blah, blah. And she's mean. See, for her identity, she came from a poor country, and status was a big thing. That here she worked so hard, and she felt that this person thought you didn't have to have any credentials, and just that anybody can do what she's doing. So she could have, in my opinion, use this as a inspiration and an educational opportunity to say, yeah, you could work here too, if there's jobs available, and you would need to get your at least an associate's in nutrition, and then you get the such and such exam, get your credentials, and apply for it. So I said, "Oh wow, hey, okay, thanks for letting me know." Now, now, that's what she could have done, but her ego got the best of her, and so it affected the way that she treated the clients. And I think that ultimately severed my volunteering there. Yeah, see, little things like that. It I think influenced our further relationship, work relationship, um, and betrayal. So this is something that how one could be perceived in a relationship. Now, you just may have one rotten apple, but that one rotten apple could influence other people and how they perceive you. And that maybe someone might have said bad things behind your back, do things. And so they just kind of follow along. And I'm wondering what happened to the young Miss Robinson. whether that was an issue. They were afraid. Maybe they were afraid of that woman that did the beating. But people can change. And other people's attitude. We have to, I mean, what signs could there have been, people? Wow. The deception is deep, people. Even the Bible's full with deception. But I think according to that one video, when you see her walking around in the villa and looking for, hey, where are you, everybody? She knew something was up, I think, by that time. And the fact that she didn't fight back, I think the stun of the deception, that how she thought she might have been viewed by them. Her family says she was very popular, very well liked. How many of us walk around with our so-called friends of the community? One's identity, you feel very grounded in this particular community. It could be a religious community, a racial community, a nationality. You're in something, and you're in it deep, and everything seems to be going well until I had gotten let go of that job. Yeah, I had turned 50 working for them. And how they got rid of me was something else. Boom. Everything was cool. But something happened. And they could have just let me go from that particular confrontation. It was all done out in the open. I said what I had to say. I didn't lie about the situation. I said, yes, this did happen. And I explained to her what happened. The person in charge of the area. Again, I was just a volunteer. Where they waited, I think a month later, to let me have it. And there was a shaming, but it was covering up. But I think, for whatever reason, they did it to, no one else knew. No one else knew what was going on. And then, boom, they let me go in front of everybody. Yeah, people want to shame. People do things to shame other people. Yeah, some things I'm not going to go in detail. But as I'm recounting this story, I'm remembering there was a shaming ritual done to get out the most out of the situation. Wow. Yeah, I'm just remembering that. Yeah. And the same thing, it gets you when you're most vulnerable. Wow. The most vulnerable happened. I remember. Yeah, I had just turned 50. Yeah, my other identity that I realized, will help for my identity in my 50s. Yeah, the incident with Trayvon Martin. What happened with Trayvon Martin? Yeah, this was 12 years ago, actually. So it was oh, was that? Yeah, that was 2012. So I was still, I was 49, but going on 50. But it influenced. So some things, it was like an introduction, but it carried into my 50th year. But it opened my eyes, I felt, about choosing an identity. And now I was to be up there in front about Black lives, about the sanctity of life in the Black community. And it was a wake up call. I wanted to protect my family. I live in I had family, siblings and nephews, and you have people that are related to you. And what happened to Trayvon Martin? Those of you who don't know or too young to remember, Trayvon Martin was a young Black uh, teenager of 17 years of age. He lived in the South, and he got in trouble in school. Nothing major, if I understood right. Um, he did marijuana, and I think his parents sent him to live with an uncle or something like that in Florida, some part of Florida, a really nice neighborhood. And one day he went in the early evening. He went to get something, a snack. And he was just coming home. It was around 7 o'clock in the evening, so that's not late, really that late. It happened in February, so it's still dark outside at 7 p.m. And he was racially profiled by a Hispanic mix. His mother is from Peru and father, I think, an Ashkenazi fellow, a lawyer, I think his father was. So he's a mixed race. And he worked for the name of the other guy, uh, what's his name? Oh, how could I forget his name? Oh, I'm so sorry. George, what was that? Zimmerman, George Zimmerman, I think his name. Yeah, please correct me if I'm incorrect. I mean, Zimmerman's the last name. And he worked on like a patrol thing. He was a self-appointed patroller of the neighborhood. It was like a gated community. And it was drizzling outside. He had a hoodie on. The victim had a hoodie on. The victim is a black teenager. And there's a Zimmerman was in his vehicle, and he calls the police and says this person is no good, looks suspicious. And he told the 911 operator that he's going to follow this man. And he was instructed to stay in his car and, just wait until the police come. Well, he disobeys and comes out of his vehicle with a loaded weapon, a gun. Oops, I'm not supposed to say that word on YouTube. Well, he had a loaded, what, and followed him. And the boy was on his cell phone. And you can hear on the phone, the courts played the tape. And there was a struggle. You hear him say, "Don't touch me," or something, or "Get off of me." And then I guess the phone dropped. Well, there was a scuffle, and the boy gets shot and killed. And here his family doesn't even know where he is. Didn't come home because he was murdered by that man. Yeah, and the murderer, I call him a murderer. What's that? He, they finally get the boy, and they didn't arrest the guy until the media get a hold of it and the family. So they hesitantly, finally did arrest him, and there was a trial. And he gets off scot-free. They said, well, he was just standing his ground. And that was an eye opener for me. It scared me. And I said, wow, that could have been my brothers, my nephews, cousins, male cousins. It could have been them that got, you know, life taken away. And so that's what brought me to want to start a YouTube channel. There was one before this one. And I just wanted to be like a information and, to the Black community. I think my first video was about that case, the George Zimmerman murdering Trayvon Martin, and then I think the second video after that was about giving information to uh, Black veterans how to get a vendor's license. Yeah, I just so this was my new identity. I shouldn't say new in the sense that well, my focused identity. That's more accurate. My focused identity. But even though my heart was in the right place, um, betrayal. And I would say that my 50th year showed me with this acquire, this identity of awareness, or should it focus? Did it serve me? And that is the essence of this. Did it serve you? Is what you call yourself, is the identity that you call yourself, is it helping you? You're serving it, but is it serving you? These are questions that you should ask yourself, people. No matter what you call yourself, no matter what your identity is that identity serving you? Your focus identity. And then the betrayal based on this identity. The young woman who passed away at the hands of her so-called friends did her in. And that in the background, your conscientious focus on serving a community based on your identity. It could be a political party. Let's say you're running for office. Let's say you have friends going into politics. It could be based on your political party. It could be based on your nationality, anything. And you go out your way to be a part of this community of identity. But in the end, what did it do you? Yeah, remember I met a person. 7 years, I can't believe it's 7.5 years ago. A relationship. And we met because I have my little dogs. And she had a dog that recently passed, as she told me later on. And that's what started our friendship. She was from Africa. Yeah. So I thought it was exciting to meet someone from the continent. What did I learn from that relationship, boy? Well, a lot of things came out from that relationship, boy. Yeah, she was like a buddy. And I'm very glad that, sometimes instinct, people, you gotta follow your gut. And yeah, Oh, I don't know. I now, if you sense people in a new relationship or friendship, you know, not maybe 99% of it is good, but that 1% is really bugging you. You better listen to that 1% people. But I was getting tired and tired, and I thought a mind game was being played. I know that sounds weird, people, but go by what you feel. What you feel. How do you feel? Did you feel this way before? You have what you call social vampires. Social vampires could be out there, and they may influence you. They are designed to influence you, and they might prey on people. They prey on people's innocence. Yeah, it was the lady with the dogs. And she had a dog. Or maybe initially it started out, on her side, innocent. But people may examine and study you to try to find your weak spot. Oh, this lady likes to help people. Or this person likes to do that. I want to exploit this. And then you start to see, as time goes on, foolishness. And in the end, yeah, I'm not going to go in detail, but in the end, I was like exhausted. And one day, this friendship was an intense 3 months. It was over the summer. Then it went into fall. Yeah, summer. Yeah, late. Yeah, late spring through fall. I was exhausted. And one day, it was on a Friday, and she called on my cell phone. Yeah, I had just gotten a new cell phone. Yeah, I got my cell phone for that, to keep in contact with that person. See that? This was an expensive friendship. Yeah, I was losing money. I was spending all this money. Yeah, it was draining my finances. And I got the big phone, those, the smartphone, because I thought it looked cool. Well, no, I had a smartphone before, yeah, but only had the first one for a year and a half. And when the contract ended, I did not renew it because I didn't need it. I needed it to get to that volunteer job that I told you guys about. And I didn't need to go, yeah, because I had to take the train, and I saw all these other people with the cell phone. I said, hey, if something happens to me on this train, whatever, um, I may need to call. So when that position ended, that volunteer work ended, and I didn't need to take the subway. Hey, I didn't need to, I have a house phone, so I say, hey, I don't need it. So, but being with this friend now from Africa, um, I want to, I felt a need to, boy, I wanted to advance more. I was real basic lifestyle, but I felt that to be in this friendship, I needed to step up my game. Not that I'm playing games, but I just felt, with technology and communicate, I wanted to be more current with my life. And it looked like fun getting this big phone. Yeah, so I got it. And I remember when I left the place where I bought it from, I made my first phone call. I said, "Hey, so and so, I just got a cell phone. Now we could now I won't miss your calls." Yeah, it was that much. Yeah, I got it in October, that phone, and that's when the friendship ended. Yeah, it was just speeding up, speeding up. And finally, it was it was mid October, and one it was on a Friday, and I couldn't get out off the couch. I was lying on my couch, and I couldn't really move. I mean, I'm not. I mean, I don't want to over exaggerate. I mean, I was physically exhausted from this person because we were going out all the time and spending money that I didn't have. I mean, thank God I didn't use a credit card. I mean, but I was spending money like water with this so-called friend. I was exhausted. And so she called me on my new cell phone, and but it was not at arm's reach when it rang, and I couldn't get out of the off the couch. I couldn't get I couldn't really move well because I was physically exhausted, mentally and physically exhausted. And then she rang my telephone, which was not in arm reach either. I wasn't picking up. I knew who it was. And I said, no, I'll just talk to her in the morning. This is the first time that I did that. First and only time. So I think she called me that Saturday morning, maybe around 11 something in the morning. I think it was around that time. Yeah, I was up by that time. And I answered the phone, and we spoke. And I said, yeah, I'm okay. I just had to regroup. That's what I said. I kid you not. I said, I just have to regroup. I just had to regroup. He said, yeah, I got your message that you called. I couldn't get out of off the sofa. I was so exhausted, and I just needed to regroup. But we continued talking. Everything sounded good, and I remember her saying, "Oh, I'll just call you back over the weekend." So I said, okay, it was positive after that. Everything seemed okay. Well, that was my last contact with her. 2 weeks later, it was Halloween, and we bumped into each other on the street. We greet each other. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I'm going to the Halloween parade in the village. You going? And she said, no, no, it just is a quick chit chat, and then we go. Well, what I realized, would later realize, the significance of that. You probably wonder, so what's the big deal about that? Well, we had a very intense friendship, but I felt I was being controlled. You find, see, my instinct, my body was telling me there's something wrong. And for somebody see, if it was really an innocent thing, if that other person was really innocent, my not getting out of my bed and telling them I couldn't, I was tired, I couldn't answer the phone, I just needed a rest. Why would she get offended and never want to talk to that person again? Well, it's about control, people. This is what it's all about. It is about control. And when some people, social vampires, can no longer, when it is, when an interruption occurs in a friendship of a social vampire, am I not being her slave, meant that, hey, she must be waking up. Well, I'm not going to deal with her anymore. I'm going to find another victim. Yeah, there are other clues too. The person was leaving things in my house: jewelry, gold jewelry, computer, all these money. And I don't like that. When you leave, I don't know. I don't feel comfortable. I've never experienced that before. Yeah. I don't have people, go in my place. But I say this is a new friendship, whatever. But it's something I didn't feel comfortable with. And I don't think you should feel comfortable with that either. Start reading clues so you don't become a victim. Yeah, people will try you, but once you get clues, people, you better wake up or else something may happen to you, like that 25-year-old Miss Robinson. Okay? You have social vampires who try to control you, wear you out, start requiring things from you, borrowing things from you. And they're social vampires. And when you stand your ground, and in my case, my standing my ground was I didn't get out of the bed. I mean, the sofa. I couldn't move. I was just exhausted. I guess signified to her that she cannot control. She no longer has the control over me. And I started thinking in hindsight that she must have done this to somebody else. Well, let me tell you what I learned about this person. Well, this person was a lawyer. She was from Africa. I'm not going to say the name of the country, but she was from Africa, French speaking. She spoke English well. She was in the States for a while, quite a while. She was living in another city. When I met her, she had just relocated to New York City. She was from another. She lived in another state and worked in another state. And turns out, people, listen very closely about these social vampires. You're not the only person that they try to screw. And just because someone's a lawyer or have a college degree does not make them good people either. Just like the Miss Robinson's so-called friends had college, but it didn't. Did not mean of their ethics, of their humanity, or the lack of it. What people do for a living and what or their education does not equate morality in an individual. It's either you have it or you don't. But either way, she was a lawyer. She also had we call it MBA. Yeah, she had all these credentials. A very self-starter. Yeah, she had a lot of good qualities. Well, she practiced law in this other state, and she did a no to a client, and it got they pressed charges on her, and she had to leave that state, and then she applied for getting the bar, taking the New York bar exam. I guess she passed it. So she started practicing law here in New York City, the state of New York. Well, this harm she did to that client. I mean, she had to do something. She had to do something so severe, and that they came after her. The law came after her in New York. So it's interesting, when my friendship with this person, she had just left that other state and was re-establishing herself here in New York City. And I guess she wanted to find new victims here in New York. She had interns working for her. But just little things started just happening of usury. It really, she even got me to work for her. She said, "Oh, you want to make some money?" Now, if this is a so-called friend, I. I'll help you out. I was willing to do it for free. Hey, if you help a friend, yeah, if you need help with something, I don't mind helping you. A friend is a friend. That's how I am. You need help, I help you. Um, yeah, I didn't get all my money. Yeah, she, I witnessed there at her job one of the clients and an argument, a vicious argument, and I was in there, and she, wow, yeah. What I can't share with this argument with that she and the client, and she had handed my so-called friend handed me an envelope, and I thought that was my report because she said, "Oh, I'll give you half." So I did the assignment for her at her job. Then she hands me an envelope of money. I didn't count it, but I just see it was money. So, oh, I'm thinking, oh, okay, this was my portion. And I was just going to leave actually, because, I was finished the task, and this client comes in and an argument. Well, I realized she handed me the money, my so called friend handed me the money so that the client won't get it, because the client wanted some of the money back and had the audacity, the client had the audacity to ask me for money. Yeah. So I realized, bad people do, they're like a slug, and they do things and they get other people involved. It really could have gotten really ugly. Yeah, she handled immigration law also. So exploited people. Yeah, I see that that's a pattern. Well, anyway, with this story, with this so-called friend who's a lawyer, um, it was for my benefit. See, sometimes, your higher self knows you so well and is trying to protect you. And even protecting you by making you exhausted, which protected me from her. When she saw that there was a break in the link, she said, I'm out of here. Well, and then again, I bumped into her in the Halloween. Well, I never heard from her again. Um, but I think maybe 1 or 2 years later, I bumped into her because she, was in the neighborhood, and she pretended she didn't know who I was. I mean, this was a relationship we had, an intense friendship that I thought for the over the summer and part of spring, summer, and fall. Very intense. And then she's going to act like she doesn't know me. But one day, yeah, I did walk over to her and spoke. But then I went on the internet, and yes, I learned something about her. Yeah, she has a very exotic name. Well, was getting more savvy with computer, and that you could do, name checks. Well, I found out that this person got debarred, we call it disbarred to practice law in New York. And that, yeah, I read the, it was a report. Like, lawyers have these journals, law journals, for the practice of law. And it shows you what's going on in their industry, and it has her name, my so-called friend, in this journal. It was about her, about this person that I befriended. I been in her home. I ate at her house. I ate her food. She'd been in my house. She showered in my house, slept in my house, you know. This is someone who I knew. And her name is in this law journal. And it was about, they used her as I'm not sure the term, but imagine like if you want to, in a story, you want to represent certain type of criminality. Uh, and she was like the poster child of someone who is so unethical. And they used her as the uh, focus of attention of that criminality. I read it. I said, oh my God. Oh my God. And I was, I see, we all have a higher self that knows and protected me by a little thing of not getting my butt up to pick up the phone that evening. That my not picking up that phone prevented me from any future contacts with that person. And so that happened on a Friday, and then that Saturday morning, yes, we talked. And I remember when I told her I just needed time to regroup because I was so exhausted. And I felt like this energy, it's hard to explain. Like, you ever talk to someone and you say something and there's like your emotion, something stirs up and an extreme negativity energy. I think I picked up the person's energy of disappointment or something. It's hard to explain. Do any of you know what I'm talking about? It's when you're communicating with somebody and then you say something and then something, it's like an exchange of energy, something, and it's negative. I felt it. And I think that when I knew when I said that word that I just needed time to regroup, that was like the nail in the coffin. I knew then that this relationship will forever be changed. It will not be the same. I felt it. And that was. But it protected me. And yeah, I questioned. I said, wow, I haven't heard from, and I know I didn't want to call up. I didn't call. Yeah. So, and it's ironic that I see the person bump into her on Halloween. See that? Halloween was because it was 2 weeks later. And she acted like there was nothing wrong. And then maybe 2 years after that. See that? See, this person was a controller and a deceiver and looked for things. Thank God I did what I did. Listen to your body, people, because maybe it's trying to protect you from others. Yeah, there's social vampires out there who prey on your ignorance, on your good nature, like that, what I perceive that 25-year-old Miss Robinson who was tragically beaten by her so-called friend and others watching. I'm thinking with my life in my 50s, all these different events that occurred in my life about identity. Of course, we're supposed to be friends because, hey, we're both of the same race, right? Hey, oh, she's a college graduate like myself. We can sometimes choose things because we think that they're good. It could be religion. Oh, we go to the same church. People, we need to wake up. We need to wake up because some of the things that we may choose a identity to follow may not be really serving us. And this black identity, yes, I'm a so-called black woman from New York City. But is that my real identity? And is it serving me? Another thing, this movement, this Go Back to Africa movement, is that in my best interest? Is that in your best interest, black people? I'm not trying to poo-poo on people. I'm not trying to poo-poo one's dream. You follow your dreams. If something's meant for you, you know, it's meant for you. But just question. Start questioning people. See, we live in this system, and this system could gobble up any person. You ever look at nature? You know, in nature you have booby traps. You have like the Venus flytrap. The Venus flytrap. It's a tropical plant, and that it has these claws. It has these jaws. These two leaves with look like little spikes. And when it's open and a bug crawls in, it closes on it and it eats it. I kid you not. It's called the Venus flytrap. Just look it up. What about the Venus flytrap? Now the fly or the bug that is around it, they don't, everything looks safe, but there are traps in nature, and it could consume you. They're there. In this world, you have the Venus flytraps of life. And you have to be careful because it's in your environment. And some of the things in your environment look just like you. It could look just like you. But they're not your friend. And they're placed in life for its purpose. The purpose of consumption and feeding off of you, your fuel, like the Matrix. The Matrix is really an example of what life really is. That we are consumers. And we may have things in our lives that look like you, talk like you, act like you, dress like you, certain social thing, and it's designed just that. But inside is a creature of deception to devour you. You may be placed in a family that is designed to devour you. You ever heard of what you call the black sheep of the family? There are black sheep of the family. And you may have biological, they're your biological family, but they are not your true family. See, we're physiology. We have a body, but we have a spirit. And our spirit might be placed in different environments. And it seems like we in this life have to discern who's friend or who's foe. Because we see that just because someone looks like you, talk like you, act like you, are not in your behalf. And I think it was the spirit of Miss Robinson that was consumed for whatever reason. She did not belong with these people. That's what I'm getting at. She did not belong. Yet she was amongst her own, right? That relationship, uh, it'd be interesting to know if, like, they went to college together, according to the father, that they went to school together, college. But we don't know whether the, the, the friendship was a continuous one, or like, was there a hiatus, like they haven't seen each other in several years, whatever, and then, hey, they bump into each other, and hey, let's, so and so's birthday, hey, let's go, on a trip. It'd be very interesting to know how their relationship was before. Did they reintroduce each other? What was that? Yeah, there's some trigger that happened. And again, interesting that it was the Halloween weekend. The same with me, but I just didn't get up for bed. And it was also good. Oh, people, I'm just remembering now. Um, Many years ago, I was in college. When I first entered college, yeah, I had an opportunity to go away for school. Um, I went away. Yeah, I first stayed locally, commute, but I wanted to experience living on campus, and it was the original school I wanted to go to, and I was brave enough to go, because my folks said, no, you can't go away. So the first 2 years I stayed at home and went to local college, but I wanted to go away, so I reapplied, got it as I'm going. I told my folks. I only stayed for one semester. Um, yeah, yeah, some things might look good. Yeah, they look beautiful campus, and they have great equipment too. The schools in New York City are dumps. Yeah, I went to a good school here, but everything's like, I wanted to major in science, and the equipment is stunk. It was awful. Broken equipment there in New York City schools. Yeah, the state schools are better. Yeah, I transferred to a state college of New York. Fabulous, fabulous equipment, but I couldn't afford it. Yeah, I had to pay out of my own pocket. Um, but either way, an event happened to me. And coincidentally, people, it happened on the Halloween weekend. Yes, it did, people. Wow. Yeah, my spirit and theirs clashed big time. I wasn't into. I mean, I was who I was, but I wasn't into that black identity, that I was this black person and blah blah blah, and the black community helped the black. I wasn't in that. And I was a teenager. I was 19, and I was who I was. And I witnessed something, and no matter what your race is, you don't do certain things to people because we're all human beings. And so that's where I draw the line. Uh, Justice is for all people, not just for one. And you don't do, especially if you're paying out of your pocket. I paid for my college. My folks wasn't paying for my college. Then just like there's other people in the college, they're paying for service, and you're going to try to do something, even though they thought they would give me a benefit by giving me a position that I didn't ask for, and the exploitation. Um, I pretty much, in essence, I was letting them know publicly, hey, that's not right. That's how it was. Even back then, I was I was 19 years old, and one of them were old. There were three ladies, three evil women, and they did what they did. But it was right after Halloween. Yeah, 'cause I remember I went to the Halloween party, but so an event happened. An event happened to me, and they wanted to get back at me. Now, it's not like I did something against them, but that I let them know, hey, that's not right to do that. I know what you're doing, and it's not right. I wasn't following their race game. They reminded me of the people of that BLM organization, who really runs that. They think that they're there to make people think, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, based on behavior. They want to announce that they're about the black cause. They want to help the black people, right? But they're all mouth, right? They're all mouth. But all these things that were going on for these 2.5 years, and none of that money went into the black community. There is a video with a documentary about BLM. The most of that money that people gave to that organization, where it went to, according to the documents, when they have to do the taxes? It went for the LGBT community, for them to get things done to their body. Did it give homes to or jobs for people who lost their jobs during the riots? Or let's say the black family that was it Floyd? Because Floyd had roommates, and none of the money went to the roommates to help pay the rent, because they were all poor. They live in a nice, clean place, but it was a financial hardship. Or his vehicle, they didn't help get the vehicle out. The vehicle that they arrested him in, that was his car. They had to get the vehicle, and they didn't help them. They didn't help reimburse them or anything. Did they give money to his daughter? Floyd had a daughter, a little girl. Did they give her money? People who need people. Well, I hope you guys can hear me. BLM never gave anybody in the black community, of the straight black community, anything. They used that money. In fact, according to the documentary, the person that's in the organization now, they bought a house and a mansion, actually, for her wife. They're lesbians. Okay, your sexual orientation is your business. Okay, but and a white woman at that. So it wasn't even used for a black one, but another a white woman. You bought a house for a white woman. Okay, people, uh, this is what's going on the guise of black, the black people. on the guys, and none of that money went to who you thought it was to go to. And or even that girl, that Miss Robinson, who just was viciously beaten. Did they reach out to that girl's family or sent money to so she can get a lawyer for the family to prosecute those murderers? Not at all. The interview, the father was interviewed of that girl. He said no one reached out to him of the community, right? Wow. So, what was my reason for mention? Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Halloween thing. Yeah. Yeah. Those girls. When I was a student in college, I was 19 years old. Oh yeah. What they did to me. I'm sorry. I got carried away with the Floyd situation. Yeah. The three girls were that mentality. They're black on the outside, but they're evil of the devil on the inside. And yeah, I remember I went to the Halloween party, and it was after that. Um, and one of the three girls came to my room, and I thought, see how naive I was. I thought she came by to like a, peace offering. So, oh, you want? Oh, here's some candy. You know, the candy was laced with something, and I can remember her laugh. She was like laughing. I should have known better. But I was naive. I didn't know people were like this. I was at this time very sheltered life. I didn't know a lot of stuff, um, and I ate it. And in the morning, my eyes swelled up. I had this mark on my neck. They gave me tainted candy, and I was embarrassed. See, the foolishness I was. I was embarrassed because I realized what happened. I should have gone to the dean, the authorities, and get that girl and her minions arrested or something. But I felt shame. See, yeah, it's about shame. And again, what happened to Miss Robinson, who passed when she was beaten, she was naked, naked. Shaming was to shame. What that girl did was to shame me also. And coincidentally, Halloween weekend. It is an evil day. See, that's what characterizes people on that holiday. It's not, I don't think it's a coincidence that these things happen during this time and during the time of this life. Yeah, so I made sure this Halloween that just passed, I stayed at home. I say, yeah, I don't like going out on these days. I eat your own food, people. That's another line. Eat your own food. Remember Miss Robinson? They wanted her. They lied and said that she got alcohol poisoning, but she was not a heavy drinker. Yeah. Don't eat other people's food during that time. It is a very evil. People do evil that day. Well, I should say some people do evil that day, and do rituals to. They might have wanted power. Again, I'm just speculating. But I think people do things on those holidays for ritual to get power. The people who do that want to get power. They're weak. They're weak people spiritually. They're weak people, and that's why they do these rituals. See, if you're really strong, you'd be wanting to help people. See, that's the difference between me and them. What nature you have. But none of us are perfect. I am not perfect. Okay. But what I'm seeing, you have people who want to help if they can a situation. And then you have people who just want to take or take by force. It's what's driving them. Fear is what drives a lot of people. Fear of not having, fear of not being accepted, fear of not looking the part. And I think that's what characterizes a lot of situations. What is driving you? What identity is driving you to do things? It could be honorable, but as we see, it could also consume you and deceive you, deception. Some labels that we put on ourselves could limit you for being who you truly are. Like, oh, I belong to such and such group. Oh, we're not supposed to do certain things. Or I'm supposed to only marry my own kind. Or I'm supposed to, I have to live in this type of neighborhood because of what I am. Sometimes one's identity could hold you back. That's what I'm getting at. Is your identity holding you back? Africa, let's talk about Africa. This identity that I had for this past, my 50th year, yeah. So those of you who are just coming on board with this live stream, this weekend is my last time of my 50s. I would be turning 60 years old. So I just want to go over what are the things that I learned during my 50th years. And this is what I'm going over. And I'm going over this to enlighten myself and to maybe usher in a new flavor, something that will expand my horizons. And so I'm self-reflecting right now. What did I learn? What is the theme for my 50th? Yeah, let's talk about Africa. Yeah, that was a big part of my identity, blackness, so-called blackness. That just because, right? And the assumptions that we make about Africa or Black America. There's a movement. I'm going to move the camera down. My hand's getting tired. Let me put it down. Oh. Oops, sorry. Oh. Yeah, what could happen, people? I watched a video. It was 2 days ago. And it was eye-opening also. Again, I'm not going to give names of the channel that I was watching, but what I learned from it. There's a man that does a lot of focus on, he travels, he's a Black American, and he travels the continent of Africa. And sometimes he interviews, what they call expats to the continent. But this one person was actually an African woman. And she shared certain things that were really eye-opening. And again, deception and identity. Her identity was she was somebody's daughter, which was true. She was the daughter of this particular person. And there was deception involved. And there's a lot of deceptions in Africa that's still plaguing the continent. And it's going to show you human nature of some of the people that live on that continent that still exists. Some spirits don't die. And it's probably the same spirits that got our ancestors kidnapped and sent to the Americas and Europe to become enslaved. Yeah, she was from West Africa, and she just typical what I see. It reminded me of the Caribbean. I had an opportunity to also live in the Caribbean, the U.S. Virgin Islands. Same mentality. Well, this young woman, her parents divorced. They had comforts, and then there was a divorce. She lived with a mom, and very oftentimes, mother daughter jealousy, and the mother was jealous of the daughter, didn't want her around, and so they just pushed her out and had her live with another family member. To make a long story short, um, she was raped by mother's boyfriend. Um, people, well, yeah, uh, rape happens a lot to women in Africa. I was surprised that I didn't expect to hear that. Rape occurs. It's a lack of value of life, jealous spirits. So and so is a favorite child of one parent, and so there's a resentment. Um, People want to live a certain lifestyle. They feel they have to marry up, because the parents separate because the guy, the father, got a new woman, a young woman. And so some men might think the illusion, hey, I'm successful now. Let me get this young woman. We call it a trophy. We call it trophy wife in America. So you got a trophy wife, and didn't go well. And she did have a sister, an older sister, much older sister, and she went to stay there. And the abuse of one's labor, they treat each other like you're their slave. You do this or that. And then this older sister had a so-called boyfriend and rapes her too. Horrible, horrible, horrible. But open my eyes about that country. I don't have. I'm not going to say the name, but I something about that place. I don't want to go to. I thought at first, hey, I might consider it, but seeing this program on that country, it just again left a very nasty taste in my mouth. What is running that country's society? Um, yeah, so all these things happened to her, and then she left her sister. She said, I got to do it on my own, and she saw these Europeans. Yeah, there are a lot of Europeans that live in Africa, West Africa, and she noticed some things about them that seemed on the surface different, and it attracted her. She was afraid of her own, and understandably, I mean, if you were raped by the same type of person, you want to avoid that. And they helped her out. And then her relatives found out that she's working with these European. Yeah, she was a waitress. That's all. She had to learn from scratch. She didn't know how to do her job, but they gave her a chance. And all of a sudden now they want to be her friend, her so-called relatives. In this country, if you are perceived to have something going for you, even though it was just an illusion, There's of course that she's with these Euros. She was just a waitress, and she shared a room with a whole bunch of people. She was not living any glamorous life, but again, they wanted to think, oh, she must be living on the hog if she's working for those white people. So they got in contact with her. Again, this is a small place. Everybody knows everybody's business. So then, hey, you want to go to Europe? She said, wow. Yeah, only thing you need, 2 passport photos. So she got it. Well, what she did not know, what they do in that country, and I get the impression a lot of countries in West Africa, they were to, what do you call it, human trafficker. They went and she was to be sent to, yes, yeah, they were going to send her to Europe to be a sex worker. And there was a clue also. Something that was said, she said, no, I don't want you. At some point, they said, oh, you're going to go something. But I remember her response was, I don't want to do that. I am a waitress and I want a job as a waitress. I'm not, yeah, oh, okay. Yeah, she was with other people and she was to go in a room and the lady, someone had to walk out the room, but there was a lady inside and talked to her real quick. Says, you have a right, if such and such happens, here you can go to the police. If they try to touch or do X, Y, and Z, run to the cops. Run to them. She had to speak real fast, and that was it. And that was accurate information. The lady told the truth. And she eventually, yeah, she did get help. Yeah, they were trying to sex traffic her. So it seemed like her relatives did the hatred. And here she she was forced to leave home because of the rape, multiple rape. She had to get a little job. She lied to get the job. She said, oh yeah, I did waitressing before. Then they showed her, she didn't know what she was doing. They showed her how to do it, And then she had to sleep on the floor with a whole bunch of other people. But she was, helping herself. And when word got around, they said, let's sell her. Just tell her, make her think that we want to, that she's acceptable now. And this lady also said she always felt like the black sheep of the family. See, she had a spirit in her, even though these were her biological mother and siblings. They were not of the same spirit. And her spirit clashed with their spirit. And even in her down state, when they saw that she was trying to revive herself and live a quality life, and modesty, she was a modest woman, they tricked her. And I'm sure they must have got some money when they took her, because they were selling. They told her, you owe us $10,000. When she got to her destination, you owe us $10,000, and you have to do. Yes, I remember now. Sorry. They say you have to. Yeah, she said, well, I'm a waitress, and that's the work that I do. She said, well, you cannot pay us $10,000 back doing that kind of work. You have to do what we tell you to do. Then that's when, yeah, she's telling us this story. She says that's when she realized she was human trafficked, that she didn't have a say what type of work she was to do to pay off this $10,000. She didn't know that she would have to pay any money. they came to her. Hey, you want to go to Europe? She wasn't to have a choice. They had already, yeah, she didn't have a choice. But they initially made her think that she had a choice. And then they sprung it on her when they reached Europe. You owe us $10,000 and you have to do. And that's when she got in contact. That's when when they went into this room, this lady, it was an African woman that was there, and whispered to her real quick before they came back in the room to save her. I said, look, you don't have to do this. If they touch you, whatever, in this country, you can say no, and you run to the police. If the police here help, and they did. They got her out. She was lucky. She was lucky. And so she's doing this interview with this Black American man, and teaching about, telling what happened to her. Sorry, my hands are getting tired holding this. Yeah, so this is very important, people. That people use other people. These were social vampires, her biological family, her community. And it's all about jealousies and hatred. And I think with Miss Robinson, the young lady, 25-year-old, who died at the hands of her so-called friends in Mexico, this was jealousy. I perceive jealousy, severe jealousy, consume them. And it consumes people no matter what you do. You could be poor, you could be rich, they don't like you. And it's good to know and good to break ties with people, even though they may be family, people from your community, your church, whatever what it might be. And hopefully your higher self warns you enough, like my higher self, that incident that I shared. I was too tired to get out of the sofa, but it broke the attachment. Sometimes just by taking a step of faith, even in ignorance, that you're not going to do something, you're tired, whatever, and you just break it. You have to be the one. You have to will yourself. And sometimes in naivety, listen to what your body's telling you. You're tired, stay home. Or sometimes just say, I can't do this. Sometimes that could be enough to break that chain. Yeah, that person never came back. And as I shared, this person is not, this person this African lady that I knew, in the law journals of what an deceptive, unethical lawyer she was. Yeah, she's living in a real rundown neighborhood in another state. Yeah. Yeah, it's really ironic. And there's a lot of colorism. And I learned also her attitude towards, now this was an African woman, Black African woman, and the biasness she has to people who are even darker than her. I remember that. And so now, ironically, she's living in a community where they're probably going to have people, that is so-called beneath her, but she can't afford anything else. She got disbarred. Yeah, and I saw that she put up a website, and it's just a false one. Yeah, I forgot how I found it. Yeah, when you find one thing, something you can find something else on someone. Yeah, yeah. Evil belongs to stay with an evil place. It's really ironic. Yeah, she really deserves all what she got. I don't know. The ad didn't say. I mean, the report in the law journal did not specify the details of the thing that she did to her client, but it was something so unethical, they said. And she was the caption of that journal of like the queen of unethics, and she got it. She got that reward in that law journal. Wow. I was lucky I got out of that so called friendship. Yeah. People, love yourself. Yeah, we may put labels upon ourselves and believe that we're those labels. Maybe for my new, for the 60s and up, my 60th years, um, present myself maybe a new label. And oh, with Africa. Now, the Africa story about, hey, possibly moving to Africa. Well, again, I just shared about that woman who had to have somebody else outside her community to rescue her out of the prostitution, human trafficked. Yeah, she got rescued and started a new life. And I think I'm not sure whether her husband died or something, but she did eventually get married, have children, and then she came back to Africa. And you know what? Oh, I almost forgot. She had to send money home. The people that sold her into, try to sell her into sex slavery was, demanding money from her, and she gave it. She said that the victim would say, well, she is my mother, and she still has a good heart, and that the community is not, it's still greedy about her. Oh gosh, just when I think about it. But it opened up my eyes a little more. That's why I shared it. It opened up my eyes a little more that Africa's not for everybody. And even if you're 100% African genetically, it may not be your spiritual home. We see what lives in certain places. And you coming from America, let's say, or Europe, a black, you have blacks that live in Europe, and these things that they're teaching us that, go back to Africa movement, they still do human trafficking in Africa. And you have to be careful about people's motives and how you be viewed. Things really didn't change in Africa. They're putting a lot of things on social media, romanticizing, returning to the homeland, right? Yeah, I mean, I love the idea of returning to the homeland, but has it changed, people? Has Africa changed? Did it mature? Or are they still being jealous of family members and are, because everybody, they want to make money. Everybody wants to be the big man or big lady, the big person on campus, and what they're willing to do to be on top. If that hasn't changed, you have to be really careful. They can see you, think, oh, they got money, this so-and-so got money, well, let's just take them, kidnap them, and sell them to a particular trade, like that lady. Yeah, this is something I have to really evaluate. Yeah, I want to move from here. It's very dangerous here. It's very dangerous in New York City. Yeah, so someone else tried to rob me. What it looked like over the weekend, last Sunday, I went to visit family. And let me just put it this way. When I went in the subway, I see someone waiting on the turnstile, and they're sitting there, standing there, leaning on it. Then a train must have come, and then the passengers got up and going up the stairs, and I knew I had to race, be quick, but I had to pay, buy my ticket to get through, but I wasn't fast enough, and everybody left, and the guy's still standing there. My instinct said something is up, so I did swipe in, and all of a sudden he wants to move, walk the, why is he there? So I wasn't sure which stairway to go, because I didn't say, I had to go to the left. I said maybe I should go on the right, but I just something didn't sit right with me. It was a young fellow, and I said no, let me just try to go for it. So I took the left, and then he starts following. All of a sudden he had to go where I had to go. And guess what else happened after that? So I'm on the stairs, and then there was another person coming up the stairs. And he's like racing towards me. And when he see the other person coming up the stairs in front of me, he booked. He ran away. That person was going to rip me off or do whatever. Yeah, this is happening a lot in New York City. And unfortunate, a lot of the things, the crime that's happening, many of the people that are doing this or who are trying to rob me or whatever are people from my own community. Isn't that something? They're from my own community. And it is no love fest. And I feel badly and don't know how to save us. But we have to save ourselves. It's hard for me to say that, but what I've learned this 50 years, I always felt responsible for all of us. I've always felt I have to save us. We have to save ourselves. So many things that are happening. Yeah, it's dangerous here in New York City. Very dangerous. The crime is high. And that's why I want to leave. But I have to use wisdom. We all have to use wisdom, and certain things are to develop us, to teach us. I don't know, people. I have to, use wisdom. I have to use wisdom. This, like, I've talked to people about my interest in moving. And, some people say, there's crime everywhere. That's the first thing they say, there's crime everywhere, which is true. Why is this happening? Things are happening globally. This is really like a fire, trials that we're all going through. Yeah, it's I think it's like, it's revealing who's the wheat and the chaff, like in the biblical terms. In biblical terms, they're the wheat. Are you the wheat, or are you the chaff? Which one are you? Yeah, there's going to be, I think it's a separation. What's being revealed now, this, my 50s, it's really exposing what you're really made out of. Who do you belong to? Who do you truly belong to? We are spirit beings, but what spirit do you have? Yeah, there is a shifting, a sifting of the wheat. And I think we have to decide who you want to follow. Look at all what's on social media. Who do you want to follow? Yeah, you think those people that attacked Miss Robinson, the young 25-year-old that got uh, demised in Mexico, 6 against 1 person. Wow. Yeah, we have to choose what side. What side do we have to be on? There's going to be a trial. One of the people were arrested. As far as I know, there was an arrest. But you have 6 people, and they're going to wish those accomplices, alleged, let me put alleged accomplices, they're going to start really praying that they should have done and made the right choice to get help for that girl. And for them to stay quiet may have made them into an accomplice of the evil that was done. Yeah, you have to make a choice. You have to make a choice in life. What are you going to choose? What are you going to choose for yourself? Choose the right thing for you. You know, life is what it is, and we can do all the right things, and yet something may happen. But I say, make the right choice for you spiritually. Spiritually, do the right thing, and I tell that to myself. Okay, I've been on for a while. Um, make the right choice for you. And for my 60th year, um, I would like to make new changes, new awarenesses. I want to break out of the old. I want to break out of the old illusion of wanting to be included in something that's really superficial. What my skin is, what my hair, it's really not who I am. Who we are is what spirit drives us. Yeah, I think that's my answer. What spirit do you want to attach yourself to? The spirit of truth and love, or a spirit of jealousy and hatred? And yeah, they could be members of your own household. Isn't that what the Bible talks about? Members from your own community. So yes, yeah, this is Friday, and life is what it is. Enjoy your life. Make the right choice. I know I need to make choices for my life. Yeah, yeah, I have to really think and decide for me what is the best direction for me to go from this point forward. And it may be something that can cost, but some things is worth the sacrifice. Okay. So thank you again. I'm glad that I did this. Yeah, I'm back on YouTube after the two week timeout that was imposed on me. But I'm back on, and it's great to be back. Make the right choice for you. You make your choice for you. Are you the wheat or are you the chaff? Take care, guys. Have a great weekend.